Lewis Hamilton wasn't supposed to be fast. Not in his first real outing with Ferrari. New seat, new team, new concept. Everything said he'd need time. Time to adapt. Time to understand. But on day 5, he did something nobody expected. One lap, one run, soft tires, and suddenly, purple sectors, fastest overall. The stopwatch said 1 minute and 16.348 seconds. But it wasn't just the time. It was how calm the lap looked. How natural. How effortless. And now, every Paddock whisper is the same. If this is what Hamilton does in week 1, what happens when he actually starts pushing? Barcelona wasn't about pace. Not officially. Not yet. 5 days of running. 3 compounds. Teams cycling through systems checks, cooling data, and long-run fuel loads. The goal was reliability. Consistency. Collecting numbers, not headlines. And for most of the week, Ferrari stayed quiet. Charles Leclerc completed the bulk of the early mileage. Heavy fuel, medium tires, no risks. Hamilton only ran limited laps during the first few sessions. Mostly installation runs, short stints, high fuel, low aggression. He spent more time out of the car than in it, watching, listening, letting the team come to him. And with each day, the story built elsewhere. McLaren flashed speed. Mercedes showed mileage. Even Aston Martin looked stable. But Ferrari? Nothing dramatic. Just quiet laps. Until the final afternoon, when Hamilton strapped in, and the garage didn't call him back in early. That's when the tone changed. Because while everyone else had already made their point, Ferrari hadn't said anything. And Hamilton was about to speak with the stopwatch. The lap started quietly. No engine revving. No radio chatter. Just a clean out lap. Followed by silence. Then the first sector came in. Purple. Not just fast, but faster than anyone had been all week. And not on a new tire compound. Not with special engine modes. At least not officially. But as Hamilton continued, the numbers kept falling. Sector 2, another purple. Sector 3, balanced, precise. No overcorrection. No rear instability. It looked more like a Q3 lap than a pre-season test. And when the timing screen froze on 1 minute and 16.348 seconds, the Paddock leaned in. Because up to that point, the SF-26 hadn't shown anything special. No soft tire runs. No high-speed headlines. Just a quiet program in the background. And then suddenly, the fastest car on the track, driven by a man still adjusting to a new cockpit, which left everyone wondering, if this was Hamilton still learning the car, what happens when he starts driving it on instinct? The SF-26 doesn't look radical. No exposed tricks. No visible gimmicks. But the way it behaves, especially under Hamilton, that's where the difference starts. The car doesn't fight him. It rotates predictably. It brakes straight. And it lets him carry speed through corners, without mid-corner correction. That wasn't always the case in his final Mercedes seasons. There, the car was sharp at the front, but unstable at the rear. It needed setup compromises, and Verstappen's Red Bull punished any weakness. But in Barcelona, the SF-26 looked like a machine, built to give Hamilton freedom, not problems. The twist isn't just that the lap was fast, it's that it looked easy. No tire scrubbing, no steering hesitation, no late braking recoveries. And this is where it gets uncomfortable for the rest of the grid. Because if Ferrari has finally delivered a car, with mechanical grip on entry, rear-end stability on exit, and a chassis that suits Hamilton's natural inputs, then they haven't just given him a fast car. They've given him the exact car he's been asking for since 2021. A platform that doesn't need to be tamed, because it already speaks his language. After the lap, Ferrari didn't celebrate. No photos, no interviews, no social push. Hamilton stepped out of the car, nodded to his engineers, and disappeared inside the garage. It wasn't showmanship, it was control. Because that kind of lap, especially in testing, usually comes with a message. But Ferrari said nothing. And that silence, it spread through the paddock like static. Because the engineers who were watching closely had seen something they weren't expecting. The car didn't just look quick in one corner. It looked planted everywhere. In slow sections, minimal dive. In medium speed changes, perfect balance. Even in high-speed corners, where instability usually creeps in on a new package, the SF-26 looked calm. And the deeper teams dug into the GPS overlays, the more questions they had. Hamilton was lifting earlier, braking later, and still gaining time. which doesn't make sense unless two things are true. One, the car is hiding more raw pace than the numbers suggest. And two, the balance is so dialed in that Hamilton can drive it without hesitation. But when asked, Ferrari just smiled. They didn't explain the setup. They didn't confirm fuel load. They didn't release sector breakdowns. And that's when people inside the paddock started saying it quietly. This might not be Ferrari's best lap. This might just be the start. The 1 minute and 16.3 seconds was more than just a number. It shifted expectations. Because if Hamilton is already this comfortable, after just a handful of proper runs in the SF-26, then Ferrari might not be waiting until mid-season. They might already be in the fight. And for a team that hasn't won a title since 2007, that possibility changes everything. It changes how rivals approach Bahrain. It changes upgrade schedules. It changes simulator programs. Because now it's not just Red Bull they're watching. It's Ferrari and Hamilton together. And for teams like Mercedes, who expected a long ramp-up period for their former driver, this is the last thing they wanted to see. A fast Ferrari is one thing. A Ferrari that works for Lewis immediately is something else entirely. It also complicates Red Bull's dominance, because if Hamilton has a stable platform under braking and confidence on traction, he becomes a completely different threat. He doesn't just defend, he attacks. And when he has a car that gives him feedback corner to corner, he starts driving at the edge without needing to overthink it. That's when the lap times start dropping. That's when the margins disappear. That's when you get title-level consistency. And the most important part? He didn't even look like he was pushing. If that's true, if this lap was still conservative, then Ferrari hasn't just built a fast car. They've built a title contender. And they might have done it earlier than anyone predicted. Ferrari didn't issue a statement after the lap. No technical breakdown. No claims of progress. And Hamilton? He left the circuit without a word. No interviews. No headlines. That silence. It wasn't uncertainty. It was something else. It felt rehearsed. Like a team that knows they've just made a move and doesn't want to show the rest of the board yet. But Bahrain is next. Hotter. Less forgiving. Harder on tires. That's where the truth will surface. If the SF-26 behaves the same way under full race pressure, if the balance holds, if Hamilton stays this composed, then the preseason won't be remembered for Red Bull's quiet consistency or McLaren's strong flashes. It'll be remembered for one lap, one driver, and one car that showed up without warning and changed the entire conversation. Because if Ferrari isn't bluffing, if this really is the foundation of their 2026 campaign, then the era of one-team dominance may be ending, and the fight for this championship might have just begun before the lights ever went out.